In the vast, silent theater of the cosmos, there is a phenomenon so rare and complex. It challenges the very laws of physics that created it, the human consciousness. While we occupy ourselves with mundane tasks of the 21st century, a profound shift is occurring. Beneath the surface of our collective reality, something is changing. Walk into the Max Planck Institute or neuroengineering labs at MIT, you find a palpable sense of urgency, a quiet panic. This isn't fear of external invasion, but a realization our internal biological architecture is reaching a breaking point. We are currently living through a neurological bottleneck. This is MindSpark Science. We explore why the bridge between ancient biology and digital future is fracturing, and what this means for the survival of the human spirit. To grasp this crisis, we must deconstruct the self-centered world as perceived by an organism. Every creature, from jellyfish to physicist, lives within a sensory bubble. Our brains don't perceive the universe as it truly is. They perceive a translated version for survival. We don't see ultraviolet light, hear infrasonic hum, or feel dark matter passing through us. We see objects, colors, and linear time. These are evolutionary shortcuts that kept ancestors safe. Today's panic, we've artificially expanded our environment beyond biological capacity to translate it. We have created a world of hyper-reality. In neurobiology, we speak of the brain as an adaptive marvel. Through neuroplasticity, synapses forge new pathways, strengthening connections we use and pruning those we don't. This synaptic sculpting allows us to master languages, play instruments, and adapt to new technologies. But there's a hidden cost to this flexibility, the energetic constraint. The human brain, 2% of body weight, consumes roughly 20% of our total metabolic energy. It is a greedy organ. Scientists are now observing cognitive overheating when we bombard our neural networks with non-stop, high-velocity information. The metabolic cost of processing signals exceeds the brain's ability to clear metabolic waste. Consider the glymphatic system, the brain's unique waste clearance mechanism that primarily functions while we sleep. It is the plumbing system of the mind, washing away neurotoxic byproducts like beta amyloid. In our modern era, we systematically deprive ourselves of deep, restorative sleep cycles. The result? A toxic accumulation of mental fatigue that isn't just a feeling, it's a physical state. Researchers see thinning gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, the seat of our logic, empathy, and planning. We are, quite literally, losing the parts of ourselves that make us uniquely human. But the panic goes deeper, reaching into the very fabric of how we perceive self. In psychology, we refer to the narrative self, the internal monologue that weaves our experiences into a coherent story. This narrative is maintained by the default mode network, DMN. This network is supposed to be active when we are at rest, allowing us to reflect, imagine the future, and process emotions. But in the age of constant stimulation, the DMN is being hijacked. We no longer have empty time. Every gap in our day is filled with a screen. By eliminating boredom, we have accidentally eliminated the incubation period for genius, the ha. Moments that fueled scientific revolutions are becoming increasingly rare, because the brain never has the quietude necessary to connect disparate ideas into a new synthesis. Let's look at this through the lens of quantum cognition. Some physicists suggest the brain might operate on principles that mirror quantum systems, specifically superposition. Before you make a decision, your mind exists in a state of multiple possibilities. The act of intent collapses these possibilities into a single action. However, in a state of hyperarousal and chronic stress, our collapse mechanism becomes erratic. We are seeing a rise in decision fatigue, where the brain's ability to weigh complex variables collapses into primitive binary choices, fight or flight, like or dislike, us or them. We are losing the quantum fluidity of thought, becoming rigid and predictable. This is why scientists are panicking. A predictable mind is a mind that has stopped evolving. Furthermore, we must address the dopamine feedback loop. Dopamine is not the chemical of pleasure. It is the chemical of anticipation. It drives us to seek, to explore, and to find. In a natural environment, dopamine is rewarded for finding food or a mate. In the modern environment, dopamine is triggered every few seconds by an algorithm, specifically designed to exploit our evolutionary vulnerabilities. This creates dopamine resistance. Just as a diabetic becomes resistant to insulin, the modern brain is becoming resistant to its own reward signals. We need more intensity, more shock, and more speed just to feel normal. This is a recipe for systemic neurological collapse. We are training our brains to be addicted to the now, effectively severing our connection to the future. But here is the scientific twist that offers a glimmer of hope amidst the panic. If our brains are being reshaped by our environment, it means we have the power to reshape them back. This is the radical potential of directed neuroplasticity. We are not victims of our biology. We are the pilots of it. The very weakness we feel the brain fog. The inability to focus is our nervous system's way of begging for a system reset. When you feel disconnected, your brain is trying to force you into a state of biological conservation. It is trying to save you. To solve this crisis, we must look toward a new philosophy of science, neuroaesthetics and biophilia. We must reintegrate our lives with the rhythms of the natural world. Studies show that even 40 seconds of looking at a natural landscape can significantly lower cortisol levels. We must embrace epistemic humility, the recognition that our tools are shaping us as much as we are using them. We need to build digital sanctuaries and practice information fasting to allow our synaptic networks to recalibrate to the slower, deeper frequencies of profound thought. The scientists are panicking because they see the trend lines, a decline in deep literacy, a rise in cognitive fragmentation, and the erosion of the shared reality required for a functioning society. But panic is also a powerful catalyst for change. It forces us to ask the big questions. Who are we when the screens go dark? What remains of our consciousness when the noise is removed? We are at a crossroads where we must choose between becoming biological nodes in a global machine or reclaiming our status as sovereign minds in a vast, mysterious universe. The mind spark is not just a metaphor. It is the actual electrical potential that resides within your 86 billion neurons. It is the most precious resource on Earth. Every time you choose to read a deep book instead of scrolling through a feed, every time you choose a long conversation over a quick text, and every time you sit in silence to contemplate the stars, you are performing an act of neurological rebellion. You are healing the fracture and expanding the bottleneck. As we conclude this deep dive, remember that the panic of the experts is an invitation for you to pay attention. We are the first generation in history to have the tools to observe our own evolution in real time. This is both a burden and a magnificent privilege. The future of the human mind depends on our ability to value depth in a world that only rewards speed. We must protect our attention as if our lives depend on it, because neurologically speaking, they do. If this exploration has sparked a new neural pathway in your mind today, then we have achieved our goal. At MindSpark Science, we believe that understanding the why behind the how is the key to unlocking the next stage of our development. We invite you to be part of this intellectual journey. By subscribing to the channel, you aren't just following a creator. You are joining a movement of individuals dedicated to reclaiming the sovereignty of the human mind. Like this video to help the algorithm find others who are ready to wake up from the digital trance. And share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us, have you felt the neurological bottleneck in your own life? How do you protect your mental spotlight in a world of endless noise? Your insights help us build a more complete picture of the human experience. Thank you for your time, your focus, and your curiosity. Keep your mind sharp, your heart open, and your spark burning bright. See you in the next episode.